Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Common Sense. I'm Lauren Culp. I don't really know why I say that every time, but if you're here, you probably already know who I am, right? But thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you guys had a great Valentine's Day and a great President's Day. I hope that you all wished President Trump happy President's Day. So tonight, I've got some guests with me. And there are a couple ladies from the Ellensburg area, Pam Wakeman and Rena Bjorkman. I think I said her name right. They're going to be joining me, and we're going to talk about some things that are going on in the Ellensburg area that most conservatives probably aren't going to be happy with. And we need to wake some people up down there in the Ellensburg area and all across this state. You know, I've traveled through that area a lot. I've gone right into Ellensburg. I know the Ellensburg Rodeo is pretty popular, but traveling across the state, I stop in there for gas or restaurants quite often. So we need to get some information out. And so with that, I would like to bring on Pam and Rena.
Thank you, Mr. Culp.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies. How you doing?
Good.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Good. Thanks for joining me. And you guys reached out to me through a mutual friend about some things that are going on down in the Ellensburg area. You want to talk a little bit about that and let folks know what you're seeing down there?
Absolutely. Pam?
Well, one of the things is the impact on the businesses, and there seems to be a little bit of pressure from influences in City Hall, and these influences are directly related to BLM and Antifa. And so you find some businesses that will cave into it and put the posters in their window, and there will be other businesses that don't, but then they don't get some of the funds, especially the CARES Act funds, I believe. So, and again, I'm repeating this kind of third hand. I go to meetings, I get a lot of information from other people who spend a lot more time than I do gathering this information. But it's created an atmosphere in town of fear. You watch yourself, like I sometimes decide, do I want to drive my car or my truck? My car is new, my truck's older and can take more dents and scratches. So it just depends on what kind of day and what's going on.
So Antifa and BLM are getting pretty active in the Ellensburg area. Is that what you're saying?
They've been consistently active, and my understanding is their activity goes back 4 years, starting on the college campus. And now I've become aware of this past year how active they are in the city council. So I think before that, we really didn't see much influence, but we definitely do now.
There were daily protests up until, I'd say, right a day before the election, when they were asked to remove themselves for fear of residents and citizens as they were going in to place their votes. But up until then, daily protests. And that's where.
And are they specifically protesting something in Ellensburg, or is this just what we've been seeing going on all across the country?
Black Lives Matter is a recurrent cardboard sign. No justice, no peace is a recurrent cardboard sign. Hate the police, abolish the police. It's pretty much the same narrative that you see across the United States.
Well, we've definitely seen a lot of violence from those groups all across the United States. You know, burning of buildings, looting of stores, assaults on police officers. I believe President Trump was talking about calling Antifa a domestic terrorist organization at one point, and the Attorney General was going to be working on prosecuting people for the crimes that they committed. It was absolutely horrific, the things that we saw, the riots and the Molotov cocktails and businesses burned and looted. So is that what's happening in Ellensburg, or are they just trying to intimidate people, or what exactly are they doing besides holding up signs?
Yeah, I feel intimidation is a major aspect of it, but there also has been vandalism to strictly conservative sites, the Republican headquarters. Now, granted, there's no official suspects listed, but when you see multiple BLM supporters, Antifa supporters, of that nature protesting and making videos and then putting out private websites about this is how you can assault police officers and get away with it. This is how you wear your attire, black bloc, things of that nature. And there are assaults happening here in Ellensburg. I was assaulted. My daughter was assaulted. We were both harassed for doing absolutely nothing other than holding the flag of the United States of America on a street corner.
Wow. That's not what you think that you would find in rural towns, like
Absolutely
Ellensburg.
not. I have been shocked beyond belief once I realized the depth of this problem. I just could not believe it happened, let alone happened here. But when I'm watching everything that's going on, I feel like we're in a detrimental stepping stone. Are we going to go the next step where individuals are going to be significantly hurt or businesses are going to be burned? Property is going to be damaged beyond repair. We really would not like to see that, but we can't seem to get anybody to hold people accountable. I
Have
named
you
my attacker. I went
have you
through the
reached?
court.
You have talked to law enforcement about this?
Absolutely. I had the chief of police, the sergeant. I had affidavits, witnesses. They said that I needed to go and obtain a civil order once our prosecuting attorney would not even take my case. So I go and try to do my best to obtain a civil order in spite of the witnesses, in spite of the affidavits, in spite of police testimony. Superior Court judge would not issue a civil protection order for my minor child who was assaulted and harassed by a 30-year-old woman who was the head of BLM. It makes no sense to me. I'm
Wow.
asking the courts to grant me an order that says stay away from my minor child. That's it. Couldn't get it.
What's been the reaction from your city council or your mayor?
The mayor and the city council, it's my understanding, they're working hand in hand with the BLM and other socialist groups promoting this agenda of diversity. I feel they're catering to them. We have an arts commission that wants to do a BLM mural painting or something of that nature, and there are other individuals in the community are totally against that. I would feel terrible seeing that, and I absolutely love people of all races, but I'll think of the day that my child and I were assaulted if I see that mural. It
Wow.
doesn't represent the majority of the individuals living here. I don't feel we have racism here in Ellensburg. I don't feel that we need somebody to assign a diversity and equity committee to us. Makes no sense to me. It seems like they're creating a problem where none existed, and that was often the sentiments of our local sheriff as well.
Well, most Americans, in my experience and my opinion, I've worked with people from all walks of life, all colors, in the military, in private business, and in law enforcement. Most people across America understand that there's not a racial problem
Right.
for the most part, but the left tries to make one all the time. They try to make everything about race, and defunding the police is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. So those organizations doing that and then rioting with very little repercussions, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I hate to see that coming to rural America, to a small town like Ellensburg. So is there, I can imagine you live there. So is there some way that people can contact you or reach out for more information or to help?
Go ahead.
We now have a, what do we call the group? What, the, no, there's you put up a website or
I think we have an email. We'll put that up
Yes.
on the screen.
okay,
Yeah.
okay,
What happens is you have a many individuals who are trying to come together in support of each other, but they also don't want to be doxxed and attacked, their children attacked for having conservative viewpoints or being solitary in their views. So it's not like we're trying to hide. We're just trying to support each other without a lot of fanfare at the moment. We're just frustrated. We're at our wits' end. We just need law enforcement to hold illegal activity and participants of illegal activity accountable in our town. And I feel a majority of this will go away. The amount of assaults that happened this summer were a disgrace to our town. It was sad. I have yet to see one man in particular arrested who is a convicted felon who I know assaulted 3 of my daughter's friends and was charged. He's still free walking around.
Wow. Were the police called? Did they investigate it?
They did, and they've charged. There's an arrest warrant for him. But when I inquired and said, why is this gentleman walking downtown again? He's dangerous. They said, due to COVID, we can't lock anybody up. It's always COVID.
Right. Yeah, there's always an excuse. What's the chief of police name in Ellensburg?
I'm sorry, Mr. Culp, I didn't hear you.
What's the chief of police name?
Ken Wade.
Ken Wade. Has he been the chief of police for very long?
I believe he has. How long has Mr. Wade been the chief?
A couple years.
Yeah, at least a few years.
All right.
It was Chief Wade and Sergeant Hansberry, as well as Sergeant Weed, who recommended I go right to a judge and get a civil protection order. So they know there's an issue. And they thought, Sergeant Weed pushed my case to the prosecuting attorney, and it was the prosecuting attorney who said, not going to do it. I might have a hard time with the jury. And it's like, that's not for you to decide, sir. We were assaulted. We were violated. I want justice, just like anybody else. I've never injured another human being. We're good people.
Right.
Multiple people have been assaulted. This is not, a singular incident.
I heard something, was there an incident, was it the farmer's market or something like that where Antifa was there handing out Antifa kid shirts?
Handing out candy.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody else, you're not supposed to have any political activities going on there, but they were there and very active. So
some children were incredibly frightened and confused. Wait a second, Antifa's passing candy or what?
Yeah.
It's just odd.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
And I heard that the shirt said Antifa kids, and those are the shirts they were handing out to children. Is that correct?
Were they?
About that.
Did you hear about them handing out T-shirts that said Antifa kids?
No, I just saw this sign that said Antifa kids, and they were handing out candy. I did not see any.
It was signs that said Antifa kids, and they were passing out candy. No T-shirts, to our knowledge.
All right. So you said earlier that you've reached out to media, but nobody really wants to touch this. Is that the case?
Absolutely. The Daily Record will not print anything negative about the BLM, the city council, the mayor, or their involvement. They won't address any issue of a conservative nature. Of a conservative nature. I feel like we in effect have been silenced. Anybody who is not full bore pro Antifa, pro BLM in this town, you can expect to be erased, censored, harassed.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's what you see across the United States. It's just so sad that it's happening in such what I consider to be a good, close-knit community. And it's not so much on the outskirts where you have farming people working together and living and interacting, but it's very much the heart
Downtown,
of Central University, the city council, the business association, just a little tiny circle is making a huge impact in the community and lives of others.
All the decisions for the whole community.
And are they, as far as the city council meetings go, have they been coming there trying to get the city council to go along with different things?
Well, just that they are there and constantly consulting or advising. And again, there are a lot of decisions that are not made at the city council. They make them in committees, and these committees are held off-site or somewhere, but not in public. and not available to Zoom. There's no Zoom access.
Yeah, without
So-
public input.
Yeah.
Wow. Public meetings that are private, in other words.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Or there's something that happens with the Zoom where they just can't get you on.
Except for the BLM.
Right, because of the virus.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, do you have anything else that you would like to add? We got your email up there for people to contact.
Okay, and it's just it's a Facebook page, and it's just put up today, but it's called Socialist City of Ellensburg Exposed. So there will be more information on it. There's been a lot of research done on city council members as well as some county officials. And so I think more information will be coming up about their associations with Antifa and with BLM, and some of the decisions that have been made. So we are also hoping that this will be a venue for people who might know something but don't know who to contact, but they will find out about it and give us maybe some information they have that we're unaware of.
Well, this is what it's going to take, citizens standing up and not being afraid to put the word out to let people know what's going on, so that good citizens can stand up against these extremist socialist punks. And that's what they are. They want to disrupt the police. They want to disrupt communities. And thank you both for stepping up and getting the word out. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Culp, for having us.
All right, you bet. Maybe we'll talk to you soon. Keep in touch, okay?
Thank you. Will do.
All right. Thank you, guys. All right, so there you have that information, folks. We've seen what BLM and Antifa have done all across this country, pushing to defund the police, assaulting our police, burning buildings, looting stores. It has to stop. And it stops when good people like those two and their group stand up and push back, because we can't allow socialism to invade our communities. So reach out to them, send them an email, get some more information, and find out how you can help. Ellensburg is a nice little city, and we need to keep it that way. I'll be with you right after this break. Thank you.
I'm untouchable.
Hello, everyone. Who else would I want to be your sponsor of the Common Sense Show other than American Cop? This is a #1 best-selling book that set off a political firestorm in Washington state, leading to the biggest grassroots movement this state has ever seen. American Cop was written by yours truly, and my friend Ted Nugent wrote the foreword for it. I put my heart and soul into writing this book because I believe in America, and I believe that it's worth fighting for. Get your autographed copy at chiefculp.com and order one for a friend, because knowledge is the key in fighting this fight. We need to protect our rights. Let's do what we do. chiefculp.com. Thank you.
Oh, we're back. How about that? All right, welcome back, everybody, to Common Sense with Chief Culp. Pretty sad about what's going on in Ellensburg, right? It's happening all across the country, but we need to stand up for what's right? We can't stand for that. We have to stand up for what's right, especially in small town America. I have never met a racist cop. I'm not saying there aren't some, but they're easily discovered and they don't last long. All the BS that's on the news about cops being racist is just that. Sheriff David Clark, he was at one of my events. He debunked all of the liberal headline major stories about cops shooting black people because they're racist in his book, Cop Under Fire. So I'm not buying all the liberal BS. These socialist college professors who bend young minds into believing a lie should be fired. I don't put up with racism. Nobody should. I judge a person based on their character, not the color of their skin. And that's the way most Americans are. That's the way 99.9% of the cops are in this country. So let me shift gears here for a minute and change the subject for the last part of my show. I almost forgot. The new website, chiefculp.com, it's up and running, and a little birdie told me that the insubordinate hoodies are in stock. So check out chiefculp.com when we get done here. I'm going to talk a little bit about motivation and having a positive mental attitude. What motivates each of you? Have you thought about that lately? In today's world, it's easy to lose your motivation with all the negative news, negative outcomes in politics, and just negative people in general, right? I don't have time for negativity. I always strive to be motivated, no matter what's going on. Your motivation in day-to-day life may not be the same as what motivates other people that you know, including your friends or your family. But each of us have something we are born with that moves us to focus towards success. But it's easily stifled if we don't have the right mindset. We don't always achieve our idea of success, but most people always strive to win in one form or another. Whether it's good grades in school, competition of selling Girl Scout cookies, which is something that I didn't do. I was the wrong gender. Competing in sports, competing against other people in an attempt to maybe get a better job, competing in the business world as adults, trying to be better than our competition is down the street. I remember when I first started my business back in 1988, my grandpa told me, my grandpa Culp, he said, always give your customer more than they expect. And when I was working for other people, he said, always give your boss more than they deserve. Always go the extra mile. Show up early, stay late, always work harder than a person needs to just to keep a job, right? Expecting nothing in return. That's how you build character. Knowing you did your best builds confidence, but it also stems from motivation and what motivates you as an individual. We don't always have control over the situations we're put in life. In fact, I would say that many of the situations in our life, we don't have control over at all. One example of this is the beginning of our life when we're born. Right from the very first day of our lives, we have zero control over the family we're born into or where we're born. I highly doubt that before our birth, we get a menu with a list of options to choose from. Can you imagine scrolling through that menu? No, they don't have a Corvette in the garage. No, they live in a single wide. No, they don't have any money. Oh yeah, that family looks good right there. I'll take that one. I highly doubt that we have that option. If we did, who would choose to be born into poverty or drug addiction or alcoholism or abuse? All of those things can be overcome, and I've seen many people overcome them. I have experienced that in my life. But that choice probably wouldn't be at the top of someone's list if they have that choice, right? So being born is the first situation in life that we are all forced into. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but we had no control. We're all forced into situations like that where we have no control over anything. But what we all have to remember and push to the front, no matter how bad things may seem in the moment, is that we all have inside of us the drive, the motivation, and the will to succeed. We're born with it. Remembering that we can't always have total control over our lives or a situation in it helps when your plans don't work out exactly or not even close to how you planned them. What motivated you to take your first breath as you entered this world is still inside each one of us. Some people have suppressed it after a life of struggle. Right? How many times can you be beat down and keep going? I say every time. I wake up every day excited to make that day the best that I can. What challenges will I face today? Who can I help today? What can I do to make this a better place? No matter what, I always try to do my best, and it doesn't start when I open my eyes in the morning. It starts before I close my eyes the night before. Before I go to sleep, every night, I say a prayer. I thank God for the day I had and the lessons that I learned in it. Even if it was a bad day, it doesn't matter. And then as I drift off to sleep, in my head, I repeat over and over, tomorrow's going to be a good day because God's in charge. And it works. Installing the correct mindset at night ensures that we're programmed for success the next day. Having faith and knowing that God is in charge no matter what is a comforting feeling. And when I do my best, whether most people would call what I did a success or not, I'm comforted in knowing that I succeeded in making the best effort that I could at the time. And if I feel like I could have done better, maybe I missed the mark, didn't quite achieve what I wanted to, well, that's what tomorrow's for. That's what motivates me, and that's how I stay motivated and stay positive. My hope for all of us is that we take each day and look at it as a building block. One day after the next, adding another block to our lives. We have to work to keep alive in our minds and our hearts what we were born with. And that's the never-ending yearning to succeed, even if it's only to take the very next breath. If you've lost a little bit of that through the years, you can get it back, one day at a time. It just takes a positive mental attitude, the warrior mentality, and a little bit of prayer. And common sense helps out too, right? Leave a comment and let me know how you like tonight's show. I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you, and may God bless America. I'm Lauren Culp, as you know, and this has been Common Sense with Chief Culp. Don't forget, check out the new store. Good night, you guys. Thank you.
I'm untouchable.